Coach, honestly curious about Christian Roldan's status and how he's feeling right now.
He's fine. He's back in training. Not completely 100% full training, but he'll be in full training tomorrow.
Obviously, right before the game, right before the opener of the season, is there anything that you're kind of zeroing in, emphasizing right before that home opener?
One thing in particular, I think everything that we've worked on in preseason, certainly making sure the guys come out with enough energy, feed off the crowd, just normal stuff.
Ryan, what 3 things did you come away with that you accomplished in preseason?
Well, I think we were able to incorporate a couple of different ideas as far as attacking is concerned. I think the emphasis on set pieces, I think that's going to be a work in progress throughout the entire year. And then the fitness, we got out of it. I think we're ready. 2 90-minute games before the first game, that's good.
When you look back at that Louisville game, anything that stands out, anything that you felt like it was really good that you got out of that preseason game?
If we have to do it over again, I might have, put it in the stadium, Lumen if it was available, make it feel a little bit more like a final tune-up. I think the guys all like this because the facility is great and it's, got all the bells and whistles in the treatment room. Having 2 games in one day, from that side of it, from a logistical standpoint, I think it's good to have it here, but we might change it up next year. We've been doing this. Louisville has been a great partner in many ways. They've come here the last couple of years. We had Sacramento up here, but maybe getting a stadium feel might be on the books for next year.
You had a couple updates, or at least a couple updates on KJ last night about Pedro de la Vega's status and Andrew Thomas being the starter, at least for game 1. If you could get a little more detail on either of those things.
Sure. Pedro, look, on a best case scenario, it would be right before the World Cup break. On a safer side, it might be after. It all depends on how he progresses.
Is that along the same lines of what you had expected, or was there some sort of setback?
No, there's no setback or anything. It was always kind of a little bit of a too early to tell you an exact date, just because of the nature of the injury and how it's going to be rehabbed. And as far as the goalkeeping situation concerned, the way I'm looking at it is I have 2 starters. Andrew's going to get the nod in the beginning, and we're going to go for that.
Jesus Ferreira, second year now, fully preseason, and he seems to be just coming away. What have you seen out of him this year? Is there expectations that are higher than last season at all when it comes to?
They're going to be higher. I know what he's about. He's heard me enough. He knows the expectations. So we'll notch it. We'll ratchet that up a notch. There's going to be competition. In that band, if when Pedro comes back and we get everybody healthy, and young Di Rosario, see where he ends up, and Soski and Jordan and Jesus and Albert and Paul Rothrock. There's going to be competition there. So it's going to have to level's going to have to go up. And that's a good thing for the club.
I know nothing's been official about Reed yet, but is there is it official? Oh, great. Can you say about Reed? What sort of went into that trade?
Well, look, we re-signed Nuhu, and the way we looked at it was similar to Josh, because Josh was competing with Danny and Obed, and there was an opportunity because Colorado came and asked specifically about Josh. Similar, Nashville came out and expressed an interest, and Craig and I sat down and thought about it long and hard, and look, Reed is a tremendously talented young player, but if Nuhu needs a break or something like that, I might try Paul Rothrock in a more attacking left-sided role. Paul Areola started there last year in that same role, so we felt that we could kind of maybe get some money, stockpile some more money for the summer for whatever Craig needs to do. And we thought it was a good deal for Reed. It gives him an opportunity to compete. Lovitz is 34 years old, and Nuhu's coming into his prime, so I think it was a win-win for both the player and the club.
Coach, you being left for the player. There was a time where the Sounders had a lot of left-footed players, especially in midfield. Then seems like there isn't a lot on the Sounders. Is that something that you look at in scouting, or you just look at the player?
We've talked about that. It's funny you bring that up. We used to have 7 or 8 left-footed players, and we would play Los Zurdos versus the rest of the world. So, yeah, we need 1 or 2. We have Nuhu, of course, who we all know has a very talented left foot, but we might need a few more.
Aside from the money, moving these young players to be important roles like Danny and Necaxa now, like what does that mean for you? What does it say about the organization?
Well, what it says is that we're not afraid to develop and then sell our players. I think it had to start somewhere. If you go back to DeAndre sale and stuff like that was a long time ago, and we've done a really good job on the developmental side. And so being able to sell Josh and Danny and Reed and Obed, can that be a real source of income to help the soccer team be successful? Maybe. We'll see. We have players that are going to come and backfill in those roles. We've got some talented young players coming up, so let's see if that can be one of the storylines of the club, as well as continuing to win games and be competitive.
All 4 of those players joined the organization as children. Some of them as young as 10, 11 years old, but all of them by the time they were 13 had joined the Sounders. I don't know, how does that change the emotional part of it when you have to say goodbye to players who have literally grown from children into adults inside the organization?
Yeah, it's an interesting. Being a parent myself, yes, it probably has a little bit more of an emotional tug, but we're in pro sports, and I think each one of those moves has been good for those 4 young men, and so in that sense, you feel a little bit of pride. You feel good for them, which kind of balances maybe that emotional tug.
This is the only, home match that you guys are going to have until April. Does that kind of add extra meaning to this match
Yep.
for you and the team?
Absolutely. We want to start off on the right foot. It's hard to win on the road again in MLS, so this one's an important game.
CONCACAF Champions Cup yesterday, LAFC gets a win. Any thoughts on that? And maybe Andy Rose getting a win there?
Nashville winning. It's good that MLS teams are, playing well in this competition. Just shows the growth of the league, and happy for Andy, happy for Nashville, happy for. There was another team that played too, but maybe that's tonight. But it's all good.
Thanks, guys.